Oh my gosh, we are back. We are whack. All right, Mike, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. We're episode 11, which means we've gotten through 10 full episodes of you dealing with our bullshit. And I think that it's time you hear from somebody else. So we're doing that today. We have our first guest lined up, Jesse Marshall of The Athletic, a Pittsburgh Penguins writer. Hockey? Yeah, no, that's okay. He's a big West Ham supporter. And as you will find out in great detail on this podcast, Spurs are playing West Ham this week. It's a London derby. It's one of West Ham's biggest games of the year, to be quite honest.
It's actually not just a London derby. It is like the central plot point for like 10 hooligan coming of age movies. The Tottenham West Ham game. There's a movie that you should see, and if I knew it off the top of my head, I would. It's not Green Street Hooligans, but there's a fight between the Tottenham fans and the West Ham fans underneath a train trestle.
Well, we'll have to.
I'll look it up while we're going, but that is the. It's like Football Factory or something like that.
Okay, we'll have to.
So it's a classic.
Him and ask him about it. But before that, Laurent has a bit of a hot take on Harry Maguire, who's been getting really, really taken to the woodshed this week on the Twitter and on the internet. He's had a bad week, right? It started with this.
Had a bad 3 months.
Well, yeah, it started with the mistake that he made that led to Spurs' first goal in that 6-1 drubbing.
Oh no! It started before that.
Well,
it started on vacation when he got in a fist fight in an island in Greece.
That's correct. Okay, so that's fair enough. And then it culminated this week with he got 2 yellows in the first half for England and got sent off.
Yeah, he got sent off. Yeah,
and there was a penalty. Was one of the yellows, right?
So here's Laurent on Manchester United's Harry Maguire.
So yeah, my big take is just like English fucking media just kills guys for no reason, right? They pick a guy. He's the guy. He fucked up. Now, has Maguire been bad? Yes. Has he been coached since he left Leicester? I don't think so. Basically, what's happened with United is anytime a player comes in, they have a little bit of run. Ole gets some credit. They have a bump from that. So they had a bump when he showed up as a coach. They had a bump again later on when Fernandes showed up. They had a bump in last season with Harry Maguire and on defense. And he was their best player in the back line. And now he's shit. I just don't understand how a team can see all these players decline while they're on the team. Pogba declining, Fernandes declining. Oh, I don't have enough players. Oh, there's not enough rotation. Oh, they're all getting tired. Oh, Wan-Bissaka doesn't look any good anymore. Hey, what's the common denominator? There's a coach on the team who should be rotating them or making them better. So I don't blame Maguire. The idea that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the coach of Manchester United is a complete and utter joke. We get this focus on players, like people killing Pogba, people killing Maguire. I know this is like centered on Maguire, but it's this larger take about when you see players declining under the same manager, it's got to be the manager, right? It can't be the players. All the players can't be sucking when they get to United. How is that possible? How has it happened? And with England, right? Again, also, why is the team getting worse? Is it because Gareth Southgate keeps running the same shitty players out over and over again? Maybe. I look at a guy like John Stones, who can't get into the team, or Joe Gomez. I don't understand. I might be stupid. Maybe I don't know enough about football, but how guys just decline, and the responsibility is on the player and not the coach. So to me, Harry Maguire is good. I've seen it. In Leicester, he was killer. He used to come out with the ball. In England in the World Cup, he was killer. He used to come out with the ball. He no longer comes out with the ball. So the best skill he has is no longer being used. And there is my take.
I think one of his biggest skills is having a huge forehead too. But
well, we'll let Jesse in. He's here, and we'll go into the Tottenham-West Ham game, and then sort of pick up on some questions and say what's up and ask him who he is. All right, here comes Jesse.
Yo.
Hey, how are you, man?
How's it going?
It is going well.
Man.
It's good to actually talk to you on something that's not twitter.com.
Not fighting with you on the internet.
Yeah, right, exactly. So welcome to the show. You are the esteemed member of the Squeaky Bum Time guests. You're the only one in the club.
So. What are you talking about? I've had guests before. My sister, My brother has been on it.
Yeah,
Come
but
on.
that's
I'm a
crap
fucking
football, crap productions. So Jesse Marshall is joining us from The Athletic. He is a Pittsburgh Penguins writer, as I mentioned previously. We're not going to be talking about hockey today, maybe a little bit, because I do want to get your take on the Tony DeAngelo contract. But
You don't want to talk about Jack Johnson.
yeah. I'd prefer very much not to. But as I also mentioned, Jesse is a huge West Ham fan. So we're having him on in advance of this weekend's big matchup between Spurs and West Ham. So
one of several big matchups. And
there's it's a big slate. We'll
and
get
the
to that
only
in a little
reason
bit.
that Jesse gets to go first ahead of Liverpool, Everton, the Merseyside Derby is because Mike said that he's a West Ham fan. Otherwise, we know that the biggest game is the Merseyside Derby.
And
but we will let this London Derby slide because of a Spurs and a West Ham guy. I'm just saying. I had to say it.
We get it.
There are a lot of good thigh rubbers this weekend, though.
I'm excited for
City,
it.
Arsenal.
And we'll get to all of them. But so, I mean, let's start with the softball. How did you become a West Ham supporter? Every American, I feel like, has this dumb story that you shouldn't be a fan of their team, right? And like, so what's your dumb story?
So when I went to college, I had a friend named James, and I hated football. And it was like one of those dumb Americans. Like I hated it because I didn't understand it. I didn't know anything about it. It didn't make any sense to me. I like all those American sort of like preconceived,
Right on.
stereotypes against the sport. So he had gone overseas and stayed in East London, studying abroad. And when he came back a semester later, he had stayed with this family of season ticket holders for West Ham. And what made me, I guess, attracted to his experience was how obnoxious they were. Like just how like inherently obnoxious they were. But we had grown up in like Beaver County, Pennsylvania, like our town called Ambridge, which was basically where they made all the steel for all the bridges in North America. And he was telling me about how similar it was to where we'd grown up, in East London and West Ham. The culture there was just so similar.
It's for the ironworks.
Right. So I kind of appealed to me, and then I really wanted to start to get familiar with football in lieu of the World Cup in 2010, I think. So it was probably 2008 when I started watching them, and Carlos Tevez, had just come up, and
what a beautiful scarred-faced man.
Yeah, and we had illegally acquired him.
Even better. That's the best way to get players.
No hard feelings about that if you're a Sheffield United fan, still to this day. But it just kind of started from there. And then lo and behold, I was writing about the Penguins, and there's a British Penguins fan club. And they're all season ticket holders, again, to West Ham. So it was just, again, a bizarre connection that only really bolstered, what I had going on there. And then it's easy to get sucked in on places like Reddit and, Knees Up Mother Brown is like a, big West Ham website. So it's, they're just I think it's a good place to be a fan too, because they don't really particularly care where you're at.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone chide me for
Did you ever get to London? Did you ever get to the Boleyn?
I haven't gone yet.
You hadn't get to gone? Okay. Yeah, I haven't gone either. Mike's the only one who's been to Europe to see a game, so that's cool. But they don't have their stadium anymore, right? They have the London stadium.
It's just pretty disgusting. So that's the biggest regret for me, is that I didn't get to the Boleyn. That would have been something else. So
Sure.
I'm going to take my binoculars when I head over.
Did you explain to your fans over there who are Penguins fans that the Penguins win sometimes? It's a little bit different for them as West Ham supporters?
Yeah, and I don't even know really. What it really comes from is that connection to the Steelers.
Right. Okay.
So like the Steelers and West Ham connection is there for the same reason. They were all Steeler fans who just kind of adopted hockey.
The thing is with West Ham is like, and I know I get very like, so Mike and I know each other from working on at Tops and working on Kick and working on the app, and I couldn't like stand not knowing things. So I get so deep into the cultures of these clubs, and West Ham is one of the cooler clubs, right? One, they have like all the coming of age soccer hooligan stories are West Ham stories, right? They have the ICF. They have the coolest name for a fucking soccer hooligan gang ever, the Intercity Firm. They have 3 biographies about 3 different headhunters. They have like all these great stories.
They really invented being casual.
Right.
right?
Well,
Like that whole
don't
thing.
say that to the people in Liverpool. They'll be very upset.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I've watched the fucking documentary on casuals and the clothing. Like, I'm out of control. So that stuff's really cool. But let's sort of get into the nitty gritty. Like, what have you seen in the last? Let's say, talk about Moyes, talk about Pellegrini, and then Moyes again. Just where you've been, how that roller coaster's been.
There was this like really brief moment in time post like the Slaven Bilic era,
Oh,
which
Payet.
really had a very like sweet point to it. You know, there was a high watermark there.
Yeah, Payet, fucking incredible.
Oh yeah, and then like the last year in
At
the
the
Bowl-in was phenomenal. I mean, that last game against United, I'll never forget that. But when it moved on and Moyes was, you know, clearly identified as this quote unquote bridge manager, you got the sense almost for the first 6 months of Pellegrini's tenure that there was like this plan in place and there was a nice facade up that they had a very established. And then like the story comes out, there's one scout, the facilities are garbage.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to care, you know. like
Yeah,
he had gotten-
I'm a City fan. I had Pellegrini. He's something. He's
well, at this point though, by this time he had gotten the China money.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what was left at this point? You know,
Yeah.
he's not coming back to prove anything to people
Yeah.
in the, you know what
The
I
guy
mean?
won the La Liga. He's
Correct.
got the most points
So-
in freaking Spanish history.
Nobody was upset when we moved on from that, but to, you know, bringing David Moyes back, it was hard to celebrate.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if it's I can't tell sometimes if we've all acknowledged that it's not a meme anymore. You know what I mean?
What's not a meme?
Is it-
Just
like,
the team.
David Moyes himself. Just
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Moyes
Well, well, I mean,
himself.
it's even worse now, right? You've turned it around. He turned the team around. He identified Souček. He's basically replicating Everton, right? Souček in the Fellaini role.
Sure.
Tim. Oh God, what's his name? The midfielder from New Zealand. Antonio. Antonio is Tim, blah, 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 the header guy.
Tim Cahill.
Tim Cahill.
Tim
Sorry.
Cahill.
Yeah, Antonio in the Tim Cahill role, Souček in the Fellaini role. You know, you've got the playmaker, you've got the Declan Rice there. You've got that. He's going to take over for Mark Noble. So he's kind of recreating some of the Everton feel. You know, the thing that's freaking me out is Alan Irvine. Should he just coach
So
from
this is-
Zoom for the rest of the season?
This is like a big deal, right? Like, I think there's a fair question as to who made the decision to go 5 at the back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where would that call generate from?
Yeah.
Was David Moyes really like giving live information to Alan Irvine during the game? Like, we don't know that. You know, we don't know. But like, we finally, and you mentioned like the 2 most important players are Souček and Rice, because what has not existed for real great lengths of time for this club is any kind of connection between the defensive third and anyone else.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Mark Noble was the problem the whole time.
Well, I don't know that I wholly agree with that.
Dude, he's a
I think
fucking hard-charging, get stuck in the wrong place, running to the wrong place over and over again player that people love, fans love, because they see him running. But how
He's
about you just stand where you're supposed to stand?
But he's an Energizer bunny. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And but he's not to me, he wasn't the guy that was just blindly hoofing it up the pitch 45 yards. You know, I mean, that there was no attempt to try to create possession out of their end, you know?
Yeah, but West Ham shouldn't be playing possession football, really. They're not good enough most of the time.
The last 2 results would disagree with that.
But they barely, well, I'm not going to argue. You watched the game, but I'm saying it was a dominant performance against Leicester. That was incredible, but they only had 120 passes. But they didn't need to, right? Because everything was up high at the pitch, so there weren't that many passes to go. But anyway, you keep going. I'm getting argumentative because I lost the job today.
I think you draw the line though between like what a Sam Allardyce style of hoofball, right? And maybe hoofing it 25 yards to Pablo Fornals. Like that. That's a totally different.
Yeah, I agree.
And that trio, it's also that linkage between Antonio, Bowen, and Fornals that has worked so well.
I love Bowen. I identified him, and you can ask Mike. I was like, Bowen.
I'll
That's
eat
the
crow
guy.
on it then, because to me it was a joke. Everybody was so angry with that signing, and it wasn't because of the player. It was just that what was going on environmentally.
Yeah.
That was the riot period, right? Like
Yeah.
we had just revolted at that point.
That was awesome. That was so West
That was
Ham.
great.
Anything like that is why West Ham is so great. Like, I subscribe to West Ham TV, and it's fucking incredible. I mean, the schadenfreude of that, like in a week when West Ham get annihilated and something terrible happens to Arsenal, and then the Red Devils lose, and I can listen to Adam McCullough lose his mind. I take complete and total joy from that. And my team doesn't have enough fans, even though we're one of the biggest teams in the world, to even do that. And then we're very level-headed, which is annoying. It's like, where's the angry City fans? Anyway, that's not important. But to have those days where the West Ham guys are just losing it, and they all look like murderers, and they have David Moyes tattoos on their arm, and then they scratched them out for whoever is the next person. So that part's incredible. But how are you feeling about the season in general? Are you feeling optimistic? Are you feeling like it's hey, we're top half the way things are going? If you can keep the momentum from the restart into the start of this season, do you feel like you actually have something going?
I had prepared myself, true, and it's honest to God truth, to not have a point going into Thanksgiving.
Because the guys on NBC were saying that.
But if you honestly look at the fixtures,
they were in trouble.
It would not have been out of the realm of – I mean, I wouldn't have scoffed at it.
Yeah.
So I guess what flipped it for me a little bit was when they took Arsenal into the 89th minute at 1-1.
Yeah.
And that game was just so complete. And you kind of felt like they deserved better. And then they come out and they just absolutely waxed Wolves. Yeah. And then, Wolves fans will tell you that was a weird time, like a weird week and a half for them. So you kind of wrote that one off. And then they just thoroughly dismantled Leicester.
They destroyed Leicester.
And
annihilated them.
I told Mike on Twitter, I'm like trying really hard to be realistic, And
don't be.
Before,
don't be. Feel the feelings, man. Get the tears going. This is why football's so great. It's games like that.
This was before Spurs had won 6.
Right.
So,
I think you had tweeted before the United game, you're like, bring on Tottenham. And I was like,
oh, boy. Spurs is what I said.
Yeah.
And
I went, no problem, pal.
And then after that game was over, I wanted to delete that tweet.
Yeah.
But I still feel good.
Yeah, I would feel good. Like, listen, I'm a weird fan. I'll just tell you, and Mike will tell you this. I'm a City fan because of music. Like, I was a Smiths,
like
Manchester, whatever. And then, but I really do. What's that?
You like Blue Moon? Is that it?
No. Music, the bands, like Oasis, that was their team, and Johnny Marr from the Smiths, that's his team. And I had been I'm old. I'm 45 years old, so I go way back with
I have like Triple H.
Yeah. But that's how I got into the team. But how do you reconcile in your head, like, where the team's going, where it's headed? Like, do you have those moments where you just let yourself dream? Like, or is a West Ham dream beating Tottenham and then, getting a game, and then drawing Millwall in the FA Cup and being like, this is good?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, when we pulled the treble over Tottenham in, 2014, that was dope. That was dope. Like, that was, one of the nicest years of my life. But I think the frustrating part is that –
was that real quick, was that the Sherwood era, I think, still?
Might have been,
before Pochettino.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that
was the wash my eyes out with bleach in the morning years. That was fun.
We've sold, if you just follow this plan this offseason alone.
It's been weird.
It's been really weird.
Yeah.
We've sold Grady Diangana to West Brom.
He wanted to leave, but why to go to West Brom? I don't get that.
But he didn't want to leave. I mean, you're talking about an academy product.
Yeah.
That's the confusing aspect of this. And we're going to end up with Said Benrahma, who –
dude, that
upgrade.
Dude's good.
Upgrade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm all over those Brentford dudes.
I don't understand how we got to this point. And Vladimir Kopali, you'll see this weekend.
Yep, he's the guy from Slava Prague. I looked him up today.
I was blown
in
away.
preparation for this.
And he had zero time to even do anything in lieu of that Leicester game. I mean, he got signed, showed up, and played.
Yeah.
And they told him just go out.
So
and do
so
what you do right.
he's taking over for
Ryan Fredericks.
For
Yeah,
Fredericks.
Ryan
Fredericks I knew was fast, but it doesn't look like he knows how to cross the ball. And then Cresswell's hair is incredible. He's a great crosser of the ball. He's like the very
piece, right? Like,
poor man's version of Trent Alexander-Arnold without the speed.
This whole five at the back thing, right, has bumped Cresswell inside.
He's so good.
And has technically made him a center back.
Yeah, he's
in
good.
theory, which takes the responsibility of him having to like make decisions, press up the pitch, make himself vulnerable. That's not his game anymore.
Yeah.
We had lightning in a bottle with him for such a short period of time. But he's almost got to be babysat now in that role. And Arthur Masuaku has been a total magician in that wingback role and has just really contributed to that offense. And that's what I mean when I talk about that. Even that linkage is like Masuaku has just easily made those passes up. Right, to get the midfielders.
It makes such a huge difference when you get good fullbacks. It completely changes your team. Like, Remember when everyone was like, "Oh, Pep just spent $100 million on two fullbacks." The team completely changed and got 100 points. That's all they changed.
Even like Pablo Zabaletta's geriatric AARP self showed up here. It made a difference.
He was bad for City at the end. We love
drops out of him.
We loved him. So are you worried? Are you worried about this international break coming at a really bad time?
That was going to be my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mike. I'm just grabbing it and going.
No.
What really scared me is when the Czech team got coronavirus and like all our good players are there, And then the report came out that Kufal had it, and he had to like get on Twitter and be like, "No, I tested negative. Like everybody, chill out."
The thing with Kufal though, right, is like he's 28. He only just been playing for Slava Prague, which as what people don't realize is like, yes, every country in Europe has basically either one or two teams that win the league every year.
Sure.
And in Czech Republic, it's Slava Prague. They just win every year.
Except for Turkey. It could be like 4.
Well, because 2 of them went bankrupt. That's the only reason. And then Erdogan started buying off other teams. So it gets weird. I love when teams are political, right? That's even better when it's like, oh, this team is the right wing team. This is the Catholic center team. I'm like, what the fuck? This is
a lot of that in Greece too.
In Greece, where you burn down your stadium if you go down.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Or if you stay up, if you're PAOK.
Right. Mike, what have you got for us?
Yeah. All right. Here's one. Keep one, kill one, sell one. Thomas Souček, Declan Rice, Mikel Antonio.
Keep one, kill one, sell one.
Yep.
God damn it. I'm selling Deck.
Yes.
I like it.
It's going to happen sooner or later. It's just not going to be to Chelsea. How about that?
I like that. I like that even more.
He wouldn't even play at Chelsea.
Now, here's where it gets really tough because you cannot deny the fact that Antonio has scored an assload of goals in recent months.
You could argue that he's the reason you guys are still in the league, right?
Like he went nuts.
Him and Souček.
Yeah. It's just the utility of Thomas Souček has been so much better. And you've gotten just as many good-looking header goals out of him as well. So
I get the feeling that if you told Mikel Antonio that he was going to be sacrificed for the club, he would respect that and he'd be like, "Okay."
Do a little cool dance beforehand.
Yeah. He did invite his family to the ceremony.
But what's your favorite Antonio dance?
The Homer Simpson, no question about that.
Oh, what? I don't even know.
Laid flat on the ground and ran in a circle.
Oh, I was partial to the hump, the horse humping.
That was good. Yeah, but when he did those string of Simpson celebrations, I was just particularly fond of that run.
I've seen,
and then he took all that money and spent it on his teeth. So we don't get those We don't get those fun ones anymore now. You've got the new teeth.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're doing games. Mike, go ahead. Sorry, I'm just
no.
Jumping.
So that's the perfect transition, right? So all right, so we're on to Sunday, and Mourinho puts his lineup out, and it's Son, Kane, and Bale up front. How does that make you feel?
petrified.
Great. Because it's written in the stars that Bale scores in that situation.
Yeah, he gets the moment. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And then I'm not particularly pleased with the way Son scored goals recently. Like that particularly is disturbing for me. It was a bad time for him to really kick up the goals.
It's Harry Kane. It's Harry Kane becoming Dennis Bergkamp.
We've said this a few times so far, but like it's kind of an idea that we've been talking about, basically having Kane become in the Firmino role, right? And let these two burners go absolutely nuts down the wings. He's proven, like, I mean, he had a lot of it last year as well with just quality passes, just one touch shit he's not even looking at. But I mean, he's leading the league in assists by like 3 this year so far. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Sonny's on the end of him and he's been clinical, but I think that it starts and ends with Kane. I think it was, I can't even remember what game anymore it was, the like 5-2 game. He just basically said, all right, enough of this shit. He just went back to like basically our defensive mids and got the ball, goes, get the fuck out of my way. He just
took it over, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. I guess the one thing you can keep an eye on for this weekend is what happens with Issa Diop. And he's now out of his like 14-day quarantine coronavirus period.
Is that your main? Is he and Agbana your main center backs?
Well, so this is interesting, right? Because like typically yes, but Fabian Balbuena.
Oh, he's the better one. Yes, correct.
El Comandante.
Yeah, he's good.
Which is just the hardest nickname of all time. El Comandante. Like nobody who messes with El Comandante. So he has played so well in these last two. He's been a really critical part of these clean sheets. And Moyes has historically been hesitant to touch something when it works and wins. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that, but at the same time, he's also showed at times a confusing preference for Diop. One that I don't even think all like West Ham fans, like the supporters, will completely understand.
So let's get a score after this, but I do have to ask about Mark Noble because I trashed him, but it is the most difficult thing in sports, handling club legends, as Mike and I know about our arguments about Derek Jeter, how I was kept calling him done for 4 years.
I was hoping we could make it through this whole show without a Scott Parker reference. Don't.
No, not Scott Parker, but Mark Noble. Just how do you feel about him? Should he play again?
I mean, here's the thing: if you bring Mark Noble on as a sub with 15 minutes left, he's brilliant. Because he can take every ounce of energy he has and just expel it in that one brief moment. The days of him playing 60, I think, are even over. I don't think you can get an hour, right? And it's not, and again, there's just a dovetail that happens. Like once you get to a certain point in his minutes, it just disappears.
Yeah.
That being said, when he's there on the pitch,
it matters.
It does. Like people
they've been
buy
winning
it, whether it makes sense to me or not. The players buy it. Like
do you think
they buy what he's selling?
Do you think that him coming on and him basically? It reminds me. Here's a hockey reference for you. It's like Goon, right? He gets on the ice and he's bleeding for the team, sort of thing, and everybody else goes, oh, "Shit, I gotta bleed for the team."
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So he can still give us a good brief period of football.
He's gonna get the Yaya Toure treatment.
He is gonna get the Yaya
fade
Toure.
it out.
Will he get a birthday cake though?
You know what? If he scores,
don't talk about my African war elephant. God,
if he scores like an 110-yard screamer,
I've never loved
in a critical moment. I'm not gonna care.
Yeah.
How far out was that Toure goal?
Which one?
Like his last big one that he scored for.
Are you thinking the Company one?
No, it was Company who scored the screamer. That's
1-0 against Leicester to win the league.
Leicester.
That one.
That's what it was.
That's the best. Oh, there's the arm. There's the arm hair standing up.
That was like
the best.
9 miles out.
The best. They're all screaming.
And everyone else.
You can see them all screaming. No.
He's like, you can see their faces.
I got this.
Even Pep said after the game,
they're all doing it.
I didn't want him to shoot.
No.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
So, all right, Jesse, we'll put you on the spot. And I wouldn't begrudge you if you said Spurs would win. But what do you got for Sunday?
I think the first thing we have is goals.
Yes, I agree.
So there's no clean sheet involved here.
Seeing as the league has just gone bonkers.
Well, and it is fucking Tottenham, right? Like we haven't really talked about how terrible they are at the back still. So,
Yeah.
listen,
I'm
Yeah.
feeling like in a similar fashion to the game that you referenced, Mike, like a 2-2 game that breaks open late and somebody wins either 3 or 4-2.
yeah,
And
no,
it's probably
I-
going
that
to
would
be
be
Spurs,
exciting.
realistically.
yeah, I
All
think
right,
yeah.
I didn't feel great after the that United game, and I felt even worse after the qualifier against who the hell was that? Misa.
Some team in somewhere.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I don't know if Gareth starts. That's the thing that's confusing me. And Jose's been very coy in the press about it, but he's going to play a part in this game regardless, right?
He's
So
going
even
to
if
use it as
even
a
if he's on the bench, you're
motivation,
gonna
as
see
a
him.
moment. He's going to make it about him.
exactly
Yeah. But
So I
if
think
he
the
starts,
point,
if he starts, then Mourinho doesn't get to be an actor in the game.
right?
So
That's true.
he wants
The
to use
benefit,
him.
I guess, from our perspective in that is that you only have to deal with the piped-in noise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not going to be some kind of like awe-inspiring walk-on moment for Bale.
No,
Yeah,
no.
You know,
yeah.
you kind of, that's the bummer of this situation from the Spurs perspective, but I'll take it.
Yeah, no, and it's it's
Take
the
that.
world we're living in now. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's a benefit for. Although you know what, when we give up an own goal in the 4th minute, there's nobody freaking the fuck out about it. So I mean, there's pros and cons if you look at it from both sides.
Yeah.
The bigger question will there be a stupid fucking handball goal?
No, that'll be in Everton, Liverpool. What a segue!
Who's officiating this Sunday for us, by the way?
Oh, you know what? I did not look. Let me check.
It's going to be Mike Dean, isn't it?
No, Mike Dean. It'll be the Liverpool game will be the young guy. I can't remember his fucking name. There's only like 4. It's so weird to me that the referees are famous. It's bizarre.
Is it match week 4?
I don't know. It could be the year of it could be the War of 1812 at this point. I don't know what the hell's going on.
No, we're 5. We're week 5 because it does. When you Google it, it does say Mike Dean, and that scared the shit out of me for a second.
Oh, what a legend! I love him.
It looks like Martin Atkinson. That's what. That's about as good as you can do, I think.
I don't even. Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the real big game. Come on, it's Everton Liverpool.
All right, fine.
Everton Liverpool coming off a absolute catastrophic beating 7-2. Everton undefeated for the first time. They actually believe that they can beat Liverpool. Let's put this into context. Everton is less than a mile away from Liverpool, the stadiums across Stanley Park. Everton has not beat Liverpool in 10 years and has had losses and draws that are beyond the scope of normalcy, right? The two
like
that
hitting the crossbar 3 fucking times or something, whatever that was with the Van Dijk goal, right?
Yeah, there's that one. There's Origi. That's the Origi one in the last minute.
Yeah.
The other one.
Well, hold on a minute, though, because this Saturday will be 10 years to the day.
Holy shit.
No kidding. This Saturday will be 10 years to the day since the Reds were last beaten by Everton.
Oh, my God. All the money on the Blues. All the money.
That's crazy.
They're at home. Not that makes that much of a difference. They're in form. I don't know if Allen will be back. The Hammers thing is real. All of a sudden, they have depth because guys like Sigurdsson and Davies are now pushed a level deeper. Luka Digne is probably one of the more underrated attacking fullbacks in the league. I'm still afraid of Keane and Yerry Mina at the back. They are, and Liverpool are Liverpool, right? But they have not looked good. I mean,
is Mane ready to go again, or is he?
I saw something about it.
Action.
If he's not ready to go, they are in trouble. But the thing is, they can turn up a gear. Like if they show up and play the way they played against Arsenal, Everton are not ready for that.
No, and I think you're kind of doing Diogo Jota a disservice, right? Like he's a decent piece, but in a good team, he's fucking terrific. So
he's not Sadio Mane.
No, he's not Sadio Mane. What I'm saying is he's a great Sadio Mane understudy. So
he's not Sadio Mane.
I understand, and you know what though? It's you've still got Mo Salah, and he's gonna have to fucking show up and help win the game today or Saturday. So I'm not I'm not going to cry for Liverpool.
It's the defense. It's the defense. It's the defense. It's the defense. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a liability. If you can get after him, if they can, if Richarlison can play off his shoulder while Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries to run the other way and sort of create the space by taking Van Dijk and the center backs one direction and getting Richarlison on his own against TAA, they'll have a chance, because that's how teams are doing it, right? They're doing quick counterattacks where you've got James will play in the middle of the park somewhere, drift inside, the ball will come out from the back, and it's got to be precise. James has a moment, turns, fires it, and they score on the break.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Question for the two of you.
Yeah.
Because my opinion on this matter is completely, I'll be honest, biased 100%. What is your view on Adrian in goal? Like, what do you see Adrian as? Not even solely like in the scope of all of Liverpool, but like, do you think he could? I mean, do you believe he could put in a quality performance for them?
Oh, of course he can. The problem is that Alisson is world class. That's the difference, right? It's replacement level. He is a solid goalkeeper. You know, he can play. You know, he'll do okay. He's not as good as Fabianski, obviously, because Fabianski took his job, and that's sort of a benchmark. He's he's probably better than, weirdly, he's better than Pickford right now, I'd say, because Pickford is an emotional. He's an emotional goalkeeper. Yeah, if he makes a few saves, he'll be awesome. And then if he fucks something up, he's rattled.
He's very emo.
Yeah,
very much so. The way that I look at Adrian is he's just not playing with his feet very well, and that's what Liverpool needs so much, right? So
that's
that's where I kind of go with it, and I'm like, if they want to play their style, and that's why Alisson is world class. I mean, he's a great goalkeeper, but
it's the shot stopping. I'm telling you, and they're coming for the ball.
It is, but right. But him being able to play out the back, well, that was the first goal against Aston Villa, right? It was like, hey guys, never mind.
Stupid.
Yeah, sure, but like, I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like, guys, look at Kepa, right? Like, we blasted him. I mean,
God,
worthy.
The thing that was amazing about Kepa is that they knew. They were like, oh, he's gonna pass it to the side, and Klopp told us that he's gonna pass it to the side, so we just ran. You're like, oh, that's not good. I mean, I think Adrian's fine. It's just, I was listening to something a while ago, and I didn't remember what it was. It's like, basketball is a strong link sport and soccer is a weak link sport. And if one component of your team is weakened, the whole thing weakens, right? If Adrian is in goal, then Van Dijk's not as good, then Joe Gomez isn't as good, then Trent Alexander's not as good, right? Like, all of a sudden things break down. Your whole system becomes 10% worse as a unit, right?
Right.
Van Dijk is already compromised, and I can't believe this isn't discussed, because if I can see it, someone smart should see it. The dude doesn't stop playing. Of course he's getting worse. He's literally not missed a minute in 2 seasons. Since he got to Liverpool, he has not missed a game. That can't be good. There's no way playing 60 games a year is good. Like, he even plays in League Cup games. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Do you have other center backs? Are you crazy?
Well, until recently it was Dejan Lovren. So the answer is no, right? Like,
I mean, granted they don't, but you've got to prioritize. Like, there's no way Van Dijk should be playing all these games. It's crazy. No. And he just played 2 games for the Dutch side. Like,
that's the other thing. He doesn't get a break.
His legs are going to go. He's not, I mean, defender's fine. He's not young for soccer. He's 29, right? Yeah. Like, it's time. Like, you got to be careful, right? Now, granted, maybe it's he can start dropping deeper and whatever. But the thing that makes him great is the recovery speed. Like, he's like Kyle Walker speed at center back while reading the game. Like, because when you watch them and there's a break, Van Dijk takes off and he just gets in front of them, right? And they don't have that anymore. Like, I could see Calvert-Lewin, if it's a half a yard. The reason why they gave up that weird goal a couple games before against Leeds, I think it was, because Van Dijk made a mistake because he had a half a yard less of space that he normally has the time for. So
it was the second goal against Leeds.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like Everton in this game because I fucking hate Liverpool more than anything in the world. And when I saw that fucking LeBron Bleacher Report thing with the LeBron fucking Laker jersey half with Liverpool, I wanted to throw up. And then I thought, here's another reason to hate Liverpool more. because they're associated with LeBron and the Lakers. As much as I like LeBron, but I don't like the Lakers. So fuck them. Let them lose. The more losing, the better.
Well,
And the more. And on that note, off I go into my team's game, City Arsenal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Laurent's just salty because, and I mean, I've got plenty of reasons to hate Liverpool too, but Laurent's just tired of chasing them for 2 years at a full fucking sprint. So I get it.
Not only that, my team gets no credit, none, 0, 198 points, and the whole narrative is, oh, Liverpool, they lost. Fuck you!
Like you
fucking beat them, bitch.
One of the cooler things, though, we should really quickly mention last year, the absolute shit kicking as you gave them the trophy as like a fuck you going away present with what was it, 4-0? That was fantastic. Yeah. But so, yeah, we move now. Man City, Arsenal, which.
Sorry, I'm half a bottle of wine in. I'm fired up.
Boy. There he is. There he is. What a manly sentence that was.
Well, whatever. I'm French. That's about as manly as we get.
Yeah, that's right. So
while we sodomize your girlfriends.
Jesus Christ. So talk to me about Arsenal and how you feel about this matchup coming in, because I was worried about West Ham against Leicester. I'm a little worried about Arsenal right now.
In what way? That they're good?
That they're not shit.
Well, they have beat Liverpool. They have beat City. They are very Aubameyang-centric.
Yeah.
They're still weak in the midfield. And their defenders are unknowns, right? Tierney, I think, is out. Still a lot of David Luiz, who's always available for a mistake. What I do think is they're not going to lose because they're not coached, which is what was happening before. So they'll lose because they're not as good, which is fine. But they're not losing now because they're mentally weak and not prepared, which makes a big difference, right? Like, even though they lost to Liverpool 3-1 and they were hanging on and Liverpool really turned it on, I thought they were tough and showed guts and hung together as a unit and had a couple chances on the break. And losing 3-1 was fair but valiant, if that's possible. Because when Liverpool's at their best, and I've seen it, you're just like, I can't do anything.
Right.
It's same like how City can be, right? Where it's like, oh my God, for the first 20 minutes, why is Raheem Sterling at the back post by himself scoring goals? How did that happen? Right. So that's what I see there. And then the other piece is like City is still in flux, but at any point it can come back. I think, you know, we're in a transition phase, right? It's out Silva. There's only Aguero left. So in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been Zabaleta, Torre, Company, Silva. Only Aguero's left.
But no, I think that City's really, like you said, they're in flux, and I'm not sure, like, if Phil Foden can take over the game, great. Is De Bruyne okay?
Yeah, he's fine. I think he's exhausted is his problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Foden is not Silva yet.
Of course he's like 14 years old.
He's a ball carrier. He drives through the midfield. He can do things that look awesome, but in terms of like making a game tick over, he's not in the gaps, in the spaces, right? He's not playing off the shoulder of a midfielder in the gap in the half spaces yet. He's not there yet. He's still sort of like has to run and move and get into space and be free. He's like, oh, I'm here, as opposed to just sort of being in the background. Is my child out in the woods in the dark? I don't care. There's wolves here. She'll be dead anytime. But yeah, I mean, this is City. You have to win this game. If we lose, it's crisis time.
Sure. Jesse, what's your take on it?
Well, I'm interested to see what happens with this Tierney situation. We don't know if he's going to play yet for Arsenal, right?
Right.
He seems injured all the time is the problem.
Well, this is a coronavirus situation, I believe, right?
Okay.
Yes, I think
I believe it is. I think, but I believe Arteta said maybe today or yesterday that he's hopeful that he's going to be available. And then Partey's another one. We don't know if Partey's going to be available to play. That makes a big difference for me on whether or not Arsenal can win this game.
Yeah.
If you consider those players as available for Arsenal, how much it changes that particular area of the pitch for them, and an area of the pitch that they have a clear deficiency to City, in my opinion.
Sure.
So until we get the answers to those questions, I don't know that Arsenal have the blueprint to do it at the Etihad. I just don't think.
They haven't beat City at away in 5 years. So.
And I don't think that they've got the blueprint to do what Leicester did.
Right, they do, but they do have Aubameyang, right? I think Vardy's better than Aubameyang in a weird way because he can play in more areas of the pitch. Like Aubameyang's just on that wing on the outside. But they could win in a smash and grab easy because I think they've got the better finisher, right? No Aguero for City's. Yeah, like he's still a 20, 25 goal scorer no matter what, even if he can't really hold the ball up. Like I love when he and Lacazette are together. If it's fucking awesome.
But with Aguero back, for me,
if Aguero's there, everything changes. But
yeah,
Aguero's. This is where City fans live like this. Like he plays for 10 games, scores 11 goals, and then he's gone for 10, and he ends the season with 20 goals. But you're like, was he there when I needed him?
Do you know what I'm used to? That same situation, only with Andy Carroll.
Yeah.
And he doesn't come back, and he only ends with 2 goals.
Did you just compare Aguero to Andy Carroll?
No, just the absentee part. That's all. There was no skill comparison.
They were never there. I love the other day I saw Carroll come on in a Newcastle game. He literally threw an elbow in the first 30 seconds and almost broke a guy's face. Yeah. Just does it. He's fucking awful.
Classic Carroll, right?
What an inhuman. So we're getting near an hour, but let's talk about my villains. They're playing Leicester. This is where we separate the men from the boys with a crowbar.
Giant killers.
Right? Well, I mean, Leicester's good, right? They almost finished up. And then Villa, just what an incredible story. Ollie Watkins, again, you were talking about Sadio Mane. Ollie Watkins, if you watched Brentford, you knew those dudes are good.
Yep.
And even though Fulham has their spot, it's bullshit because Fulham's fucking terrible. But had Brentford been there, it would have been amazing. Leicester, listen, Brendan Rodgers is a David Brent clone. He's like a bad version of a boss, but he's competent, which is the weird thing. It's really fucking annoying. He lets you know that he's competent. He really came with a plan and fucking kicked City in the teeth. But then typical kind of Brendan Rodgers thing, it's like he overlooks West Ham. He's like, oh, we're going to play the way we play. And you guys punched him in the mouth without passing the ball, which is insane. I don't know how you did that. And then Villa is all about my guy, Grealish, man. Can't fucking deal with how much I love him. It's a problem. He's the first white player I've ever loved. It's always been black players. So I'm changing my feelings.
You're going full MAGA, right? There you go.
Yeah. Oh no, this is wait, we have to see my gear, my fly with the fucking Biden.
I'm more partial to John McGinn.
I like him too.
Only because out of Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish, and John McGinn's the only one that sounds even remotely intimidating.
Yeah. Well, his face is crooked and broken, as though he's taking more punches in the face than any human is possible.
He has.
Yeah. Well, I like McGinn too. I was telling a friend of mine is a big Villa fan. He's actually from Birmingham. And he's like, oh, it's not McGinn's fault. I'm like, the reason why they almost went down is because McGinn missed half the season.
Yeah.
Right? He's that linchpin player that is an unsung kind of player. He's got that sort of flavor of going up and down, can score a goal. But he's a little bit small, but he's got that like high energy button thing, that sinewy kind of Roy Keane style. So I like him as well.
It's been kind of fun to see that, you've got Villa and West Ham, right? Like two teams that frankly really came close to going down, who are actually flourishing and hopefully not doing a Leicester, but like whether they're causing problems, right?
It's the rise of Claret and Blue. They're both back. With Burnley, there's almost too many. Somebody has to go. I think it's Burnley. Burnley's got to go.
We got to vote those pricks off the island. I hate those sons of bitches.
It's too much. There's too much Claret and Blue.
Yeah.
They are going to go down. I think they are in trouble.
Quickly on Leeds Wolves, and then we'll let Jesse get back to his life here.
Anything happening with Leeds I'm watching.
Anything happening with Wolves, although they've been very, very confusing to me the first month or so. That's the biggest thing,
is that there have just been so many uncharacteristic performances for them.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the fluidity with which Wolves play, and how everything they do is so interchangeable. they attack the ball in ways where they always have support, and you just almost that press that you get out of that just hasn't been on display at all.
Well, the thing is if you think about it this way, it's like not last season, but the season before, they literally played the same 11 guys every game.
Constantly.
Then they had the crazy season last season where I think they played 56, 60 games, something up. They had to qualify for Europe and then made a deep run. So they played like 55, 56 games, probably with 13 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all that continuity, losing Doherty, Semedo's there, changing out Jota. I mean, there's got to be some level of adjustment to, hey, there's actually new guys on the team now. Yes, Moutinho, I don't know how he does it. He's incredible, but he's 35,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's the part that's tricky to me. It's like, is there a wall that they hit for all that football? I was making fun of Van Dijk playing all those games. Is there something in Wolves that's just like, are you guys on amphetamines? Like, what the fuck are you guys? How are you able to play like this? Whereas, Klopp and Pep are always like, oh, we played too many games. While, Wolves are just like, what's the 11? Same as last week. Let's go. Right. So
no,
I think this is going to be where we really, Espiritu Santo's gotten a lot of credit for being a good coach. He's positive. He's an interesting guy. But does that continuity start to break down? How much was it Doherty? I mean, Doherty was a big part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I said when we signed him, I was worried for Wolves and their ability to replace him. Not so much in quality, but like as far as just like you said, the
guy.
The guy, right? Exactly. He's just a constant, right? So, I mean, I watched a lot of Wolves last year, and it was weird. I mean, wingback is putting it mildly. He was a winger, right? He was like in a 4-3-3. He was up there. And it was weird that him and Traore were on the field at the same time, and like they basically both be next to each other the whole time. Like, one of you fucking guys supposed to be in the other half, Nick. You know that, right? Like, what are you doing?
Traore strikes the fucking fear of God into my team.
I love that,
But
man.
Leeds are just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Leeds.
Leeds. Oh God.
I can't get it.
Yeah, shoot it into my veins. Like, give me more.
Every time.
Yeah, and they're so fit. Like, it's not even. It's they're all fit. Like, they're professional soccer players. They all look amazing.
You only have to play 3 months in that system to get fit.
But you see it, right? Like, they even look better. Like, their shirts are tight. Like, I mean, this is a homoerotic moment, but they wear that white shirt. It's all tight. They're all running fast. They look amazing. There's a lot of buns. There's a lot of hair buns. That's amazing. So there's a lot going on.
They play as if I was controlling them on FIFA.
And then Bielsa's losing his mind, which is great. Like, here's a guy who's seen it all, done it all. He's the weird black sheep of his family. Like, his story is so interesting. He's like, they're all like politicians and intellectuals, and they're like, oh, this is the fucking retard kid who decided that he wanted to be a soccer coach. You know what I mean? But he's taking, like, he goes to Thanksgiving and everyone's talking about like politics in Argentina, who finds their family that got thrown into the ocean in the 70s. And he's like, I just like kind of like football.
Well, and I think one of the best things.
What was it last year that he brought out a PowerPoint? What was the PowerPoint that he showed last year?
He's known for doing like 3-hour press conferences. It's just insane.
He sat down. Somebody criticized him for something, and it was the very beginning of his tenure with Leeds.
Yeah,
he brought a
I know the story.
To the press conference, looked it up, and began to go slide by slide as to why this assessment was incorrect. Oh, it was training. He was watching training.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Well, he's legend. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went through slide by slide as to why it wasn't a big deal with like all these bullet points, and I was like, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's great. I think one of the best things about not having fans is that you get to hear Bielsa losing his goddamn mind on the sidelines, right? So
with his bad back, walking like he's fucking oh God, man, I had a good reference. Shit.
You'd run real fast too if you heard that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think maybe is Arlo White or somebody who I was listening to. They liken it to like when there's fans on the other side of the pitch, you can't hear them. So it's like, oh, no big deal, whatever. But like you hear him now and you're like, fuck, he's talking to me. Damn it. Okay, fine.
Turn that hot mic off.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, that team's good. I mean, as much as I don't like their weak, the thing that sucks is their weak spot is Bamford, right? Like he's, but the rest of them are awesome. Like Fucking Harrison. I liked him when he played at NYCFC. He's so great. Billings is great. Alioski's great. They've been playing well without Hernandez, who's 35 and has been their best player for 2 years. Like, in the back is probably going to be their weakness because they're going to leave guys open to play, so it'll always be up and down. But when someone's on the ball and you leave their head up, they just streak down the field like it's a Madden deep route. They just take off.
All verticals,
Holy
right?
shit.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. So, yeah, we've got 5 at least good games to look forward to. 7:30 a.m. is the first one with Everton, Liverpool, the biggest one we talked about. So
I'm not going to watch it.
I know. I was going to say it's 4:30 for you out there in San Diego. But
Look.
record it. We have the technology.
No, it does. It's not good enough.
I know it's not. But before we go, and by the way, Jesse, thank you so much for coming on. I will give you the floor to just give me all the shit you want about Jack Johnson. Go ahead. Go for it. Like whatever.
First of all, who's Jack Johnson? The guy, the singer?
No, incorrect. You want to take that one, Jesse?
This is a defenseman who was bought out by the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay.
So essentially paid for him to no longer play for them.
Yeah, I understand buyouts. Okay.
And then was immediately signed by the New York Rangers.
I understand the Rangers.
For more than the league minimum contract.
Is JD still the GM?
Oh, sure is, and that's exactly what. So,
That's not good. That can't be good.
I was on the Athletic Rangers podcast last night, and I kind of I guess in my mind, not really being as in tune with the Rangers, thought oh, there's no way Jack Johnson will be anywhere but the third pairing, and they were like, no, he's one of the only left-handed defensemen they have. He's gonna play with Jacob Trouba, and I was like, oh, and they were like, how bad is that for us? And I was like, is the scale 1 to 10? They were like, yeah. And I was like, 14?
Yeah.
Probably. So, I mean, this is just the universe serving you a little bit of balance and yin to your yang.
Yeah.
Lafreniere.
Yeah, that's fair. I accept. And Lundqvist going to Washington was a little bit more of the yin in my face there, but
that's more sentimental than it is anything.
Oh,
else.
But my heart hurts, Jesse.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not going to be good for Washington. And that's
I understand.
Joy.
There's no such thing as joy anymore. There's no more joy in Mudville, but yeah, we will definitely have you on before the next we got to come up with a good name for our derby because me and Laurent have El Duchico, so we'll figure one out for when we go back to the London Stadium, and hopefully they'll have fans by that point, so you guys can yell all kinds of crazy shit at them. But again, thanks so much for coming on, and we will talk to you soon, sir.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, man. We'll see
right
you
on.
soon.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. This was a crap football, crap pundit production. We will return on Mondays and Thursdays for the Premier League season. We will talk about soccer and other things that interest us. Mike is crazy. Laurent is insane. That's why it works.